I'm joined today by former Congressman Jim Langevin, who's currently the chair of the Institute for Cybersecurity and Emerging Technologies at RIC. Mr. Langevin, thanks for being here with us.
Great to be with you.
So we want to jump right into this. The biggest concern we're hearing from parents and students in Providence has been the lack of communication from the district about what happened with this network breach. Why would a municipal school district stay so quiet right after something like this happens?
Well, first of all, I think they're doing a lot of things right. That unfortunately, it looks like we're hit with some type of a cyber incident, probably a ransomware attack, and school systems are particularly vulnerable. So communication is absolutely essential, and the more information they can put out to the public, the better. And I believe that they're doing their best, but obviously more information as they know it will be helpful just to keep the public informed. The problem is, school systems and nonprofits, even small businesses, are particularly vulnerable to cyber incidents because they're inherently understaffed, under-resourced, and because they depend on these IT networks for communication and coordination, and they're unfortunately particularly vulnerable. But from what I can see, the school system did a lot of the right things right away when they saw something wasn't right. They brought in an IT service company, and the company recommended taking the system offline, which is important, as they did their forensics to find out exactly what type of a cyber incident they're dealing with.
At this point, they haven't said whether it's a data breach, whether it's a ransomware attack. There's a lot of speculation over, what exactly happened, but they haven't confirmed anything. Do you think they should be more forthcoming, assuming that they do know what type of breach that they're dealing with?
Well, first of all, they're doing the forensics right now to find out exactly what happened. They may not have clearly the full picture of their arms around this right now, but as soon as they can possibly share that information with the public, they should do it without tipping their hand also to the attackers to let them know that they know what's going on and where they're particularly vulnerable. So, they may have been able to contain this, and they don't want to give any indication to the attackers that they're mitigating things right now. So I would say more information is better at the appropriate time.
That's a good point that you make, that, the attackers are watching, and they do have access, of course, to all of the information that we have access to. So if you tip your hand, then they might know. Now, if this is, a ransomware attack, then what would be next? Do school districts usually end up paying that ransomware?
Well, all types of entities, whether it's school systems, hospital systems, even police departments, have been hit with ransomware attacks. Unfortunately, it's rampant. I think a lot of it is to do with cryptocurrency that can be untraceable. In some places, the FBI is able to tip off an entity that they might be about to get hit with a ransomware attack, and they've been successful in mitigating or preventing that from happening. But on many cases, it doesn't happen. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, whether they will have to pay the ransom or they can reconstitute the system without paying the ransom, if that's what in fact it is. But it's going to be a tough decision to make. Right now, entities like school systems, municipalities, perhaps, this is aperture vulnerability that is wide open, and you can never prevent 100% of the attacks. But there are things that you can do to buy down that risk, kind of close that aperture of vulnerability. Things like multi-factor authentication, having backups, of course, strong passwords and things of that nature. And cyber training is really essential.
At this point, does that go far enough, though, or do these schools really have to be hiring, outside companies or working with, security companies in order to protect their information?
Yeah, wherever possible, it's of course best to have cyber professionals doing this work and helping to defend the networks. That's one of the things that we're doing at Rhode Island College. We're educating the next generation of cyber professionals and cyber defenders. There are some 500,000 jobs that go unfilled right now. I commend Governor McKee and President Warner for having the vision to want to create the Institute for Cyber and Emerging Technologies at RIC. We're educating those students right now. We'll have a cyber range very soon, probably up, hopefully running in next March. We'll actually be able to bring in people, say from municipalities, school systems, to help do cyber training so that they're aware of how best to protect their systems.
Which could certainly help in situations like this.
If we're successful because of the governor's vision, we're going to have if the voters approve bond issue number 2, we're actually going to build a security operations at a new cyber building on campus. There'll be a 24-hour system that will help provide cybersecurity services at a reduced cost for things like school systems and municipalities and nonprofits.
So this is still very early in Providence's data breach, but for the people at home who are watching this wondering, could my information be out there? What type of information could be at risk?
Well, obviously, a lot of personal and private information is certainly vulnerable. Hopefully, the data that they had on the private school system networks is encrypted. Encryption is another important thing, both the data at rest and data in transit, wherever possible. That way, if the bad actors do get your data, it's useless because it's encrypted. And also having backups is really important, because in some cases you can reconstitute your system if you have adequate backups. Not always, of course. There's could be problems there too, but that's another way of buying down your risk and to be able to reconstitute, hopefully without having to pay the ransom.
From your experience, how long could this take before parents and students know whether their information was compromised?
Yeah, of course, hard to say. It depends if they're able to isolate and locate and how far the attackers got, how widespread, how long they were there for. But it could take several days or even weeks.
All right. Well, Mr. Langevin, thank you so much for joining us and providing your insight on this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.